Okay, here we go. So hello, Scorpio. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back. As they say, if you like what you hear and are interested in more, click like, subscribe, share, all of that. Would like to do live readings for people, but I can't really do that until I get more subscribers. So if you're interested in having me do that for you, then hit the subscribe button. And we'll see what we can do about that. So we're getting there though. I'm gonna smudge the area a little bit, cleanse the area, clear my mind. Uh, Spirit says that you're on a deep internal soul type mission. Wow. So that's intense for you. Um, they say that it can only be described really as if you are in a submarine and submerging deep to the bottom of the ocean, trying to find the bottom of the abyss that is fairly elusive, but you're also very intuitive. So you know where you're going, even though you don't know where you are. So that's interesting. That's a very Scorpio move. Very Scorpio. Because it's three water signs, right? Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And if you think about the ocean, the Scorpio is the bottom part of the ocean. They're the deeper part. They have the deepest feelings. Um, yeah. And also the bottom of the ocean is also the darkest. And Scorpio knows how to traverse that area without much light. So Scorpio can have very dark, deep feelings. They can have feelings where it can be elusive to other people. And I would say that that's true. Like, I am not a Scorpio, but my third house, which is the house of communication, is Scorpio. And I really identify with the way that Scorpio speaks and thinks and feels. Um, so, yeah, there's a lot of that going on. You know. All right. So, as I have said with other signs, I started this out with the intention. Road to hell is paved with good intentions. I started this out with the intention of doing all the signs all the way through one video and then doing timestamps. That didn't happen. However, if you check out the first video in this round, it will say Aries and Taurus. And it starts out like hello Aries, blah blah blah, all of that, right? But then there is a section that will be for all signs, where Spirit has delivered a message for all signs for this time period. So it would behoove you, it would be good for you to go check out that video and see what it has to say. So I'm not going to go into all of it here, but I will say that it blew me away. And that's, well, it can be difficult to do. There are times where I am surprised by what Spirit says. And mind you, I channel information. So I'm not like just a card reader. Um, I read cards, I channel information, I do mediumship, I do all of that. And I do also do personal readings. And so that information is probably in my bio. It should be in my bio, but you know, if you don't see the information there, send me a message. I don't reach out to people. So if somebody reaches out to you and says that they're me, it's not. So we can deal with that. Anyway, Scorpio. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, as they say. You know, date, I believe, is April 11th. We are still in the Mercury retrograde. So it would be a good option to, you know, dot your I's, cross your T's, double check any kind of communication, leave early for travel plans, things like that. Be careful about like electronics, all of that stuff, because all of that is ruled by Mercury. All right. Mercury retrograde is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It does get a bad rap. However, Mercury retrograde is a time period where we are given opportunity and sometimes possibly forced to go back and revisit, right? Revisit, renegotiate, rewrite, um, revision, all of that stuff that is about redoing, checking, going back over something, right? So, um, so yeah, so there's a lot of that happening. Let's see here. So Scorpio, 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 Scorpio. What is happening this week? So also I do look at like the week ahead kind of thing, this time period, right? But then Scorpio has their own ideas. I mean, not Scorpio, Spirit has their own ideas about, you know, what time period we're going to look at, right? I channel information, I see things, and I just say what Spirit wants me to say and kind of go from there. And if you've been on my channel before, if you've seen it, you know how it works. And if you haven't, then you'll see how it works. I just show up here, I try to have fun, and but this isn't like all like love, light, unicorns and rainbows. So, you know, and if you're a Scorpio, you're probably not either. So, you know how it is. All right, Scorpio, let's get with it. Happening here for the sign of Scorpio. All right. Spirit says that this could be a time period where skeletons are going to come out of your closet, and it's not even Halloween. So you may want to just kind of like be aware of that. And it's not necessarily a bad thing that that happens um, because this is meant to be a time period about healing for everybody, really. And so it can be a sign of relief to have, you know, whatever I'm not saying, that all of your skeletons are going to be coming out of the closet, but I am saying that, that is something that could happen, right? And it may be you revealing them. It doesn't necessarily have to be that other people are revealing your skeletons. So first card up here is the Five of Wands, which is a card of chaos. It's a lot about like sorting things out. Um, it could be about also like problems with the legs, especially the knees. Um, but it's about kind of sorting out your priorities. So what else is happening here? Sorting things out, making decisions that overwhelm you. The Eight of Swords is also a card that talks about interference. So again, we are in the retrograde. It can be a time period of confusion. So again, you want to be clear about where it is that you're going and what it is that you're doing, right? So there you are, Scorpio. Queen of Cups is ruled by a sign of Scorpio. Also, it is also an indication that this can be a very emotional time period. My wand. Um, I did not get it at Ollivanders. I'm not really sure where I got it. However, it has this little curve down the bottom, which does make it very handy to hold. Flip and swish. So, like that. Capricorn, a lot about resources, things like that. Fear of failure is going to be some sort of like change or change around the structure of things. And it could very well be this interference card is in a very sort of like key position where it's like sitting there. This is about like delays, procrastination. This is a good time also to change your perspective around a lot of things. You could be in a place where you're trying to be like very like youthful, even though you're trying to be moving forward here. Um, so I would tell you to um, at least attempt to be playful somehow. The Princess of Cups is a card that can bring up like, like children type things, like younger female kind of like energy and things like that. Um, could also bring in like younger people around your life as well. With the Hangman card, so Scorpio. God. Um, with the Haman card sitting next to this, it could be like annoying children, right? And it could very well be you being annoyed by your own inner child as well, right? Because you have the Queen of Cups here, and then you have the Princess of Cups, right? So this could very well be you being emotionally in touch with your inner child. And in the Hangman card, right? Like the Hangman card is about changing your perspective around things, right? But in sometimes it can very well be victim mentality, right? So like trauma related things, stuff like that, right? Things like that could be coming up, and things that have annoyed you, bothered you, things like that, right? But you also have the Ace of Swords over here. So the Ace of Swords is a card that can bring up new ideas, right? And so things that have bothered you, things where you have been like victimhood, whatever, right? All of that stuff. And it's like, but there are these new ideas coming up here. You have these sorting out issues going on over here, right? This is kind of about conflict, right? But it's a card that can also be about trying to hold your ground as well, right? And it's kind of about persistence, right? So even though you're sitting here and you're trying to move forward, especially because you do have the Knight of Discs over here, all right, and he is about somebody who looks to the future as far as his work, money, finances, things like that are concerned. Right. Um, it's kind of interesting because it's very much showing up here the way that I was like talking about, right? Because you do have the Seven of Pentacles here. The Seven of Pentacles is ruled by Saturn, right? This is you have the Seven of Swords here, fear of moving forward. So right now you have like two sevens. This guy that I follow on YouTube says that when he sees like multiple sevens, they can be internal fears that are not necessarily real. So there's that, right? And the bottom of the deck is a Nine of Wands. So this is a completion of the cycle, is at least on an energy level anyway. The Nine of Wands is also in this deck, it's called Strength, right? But it is a card that is a completion, right? Nines are completion. So on some sort of like an energy level, this is a card that I use really for like the wounded healer. This is the sun in Sagittarius time period. So there can be a lot of energy that is asking you to be able to go forward, which is interesting because we do have this Mars Saturn sort of like conjunction happening. And so Mars is all about like fire and passion, and we want to move forward, we want to move forward, we want to move forward. And Saturn is like, no, 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 no. You slow down right now and kind of check things out. And like Saturn is about rules, responsibility, things like that. But it's a card that can all it's a planet that can also be related to like longevity, right? And so this does rule, I believe, the age group about like 50, 60, somewhere around there. So, you know, it's an older age. And I don't really want to say like older age because I am um in my early 60s right now. So there's that. Um so but Saturn is about like longevity. So it's asking you to say, okay, well, we want to do this, but is it really good for you long term, right? And Mars is also a planet that has a tendency to want to like cut things up, right? Like chop things out and like snip and things like that. So, um, so that's kind of like what it is that is trying to happen around here now. And you know, the retrograde is about revision as well. So it's like you're sitting here and trying to move forward, but it's like you want to make sure that your plan that you have been building for a while now, right? Because it does feel like you've had this whole kind of mastermind sort of plan, right? And Scorpio does usually tend to have a plan B, right? And potentially even a plan C and D. So, you know, it's like I just know that I'm watching this thing about you have this like multi-level, multi-tiered, very like depth-oriented scorpionic like plan about how you want to like kind of like build your empire, build your business, you know, take over the world sort of a thing, right? And well, you're not really an Aries thing, but Aries and Scorpio are also have the planet Mars as their ruling planet. So could very well want to be taking over the world. Who knows? So there's that. Anyway, I'm watching this whole plan take place, but then I'm also watching this whole thing about like, okay, so it's coming in and saying like, okay, let's make sure all of the I don't know, I'm watching like they're calling it synapses, right? And synapses are really more in the body, right? So, but anyway, they're talking about making sure all of the synapses are being open, right? And it's like all the corridors are open, not like checking to make sure the doors are open to this, that, the other thing, right? Make sure everything is a go. And so, because it makes me feel like I'm watching a maze. And as you're going down through the maze, right, it's like, oh, I'm going to hit this dead end. And you want to make sure that if you're going to go that way, that you're not going to hit a dead end. And so things can be sort of like tricky in your plan right now. So you may want to kind of take a few days or a week or something like that and kind of go over it all and kind of double check whatever and see if it is still valid, right? Because this plan that you've been building has been going on for a while now. So since it's been going on for a while now, is it still valid? Are the players still the same? Have people been like switched out, right? Are you still dealing with the same people? Are you dealing with different people, right? So that's the thing that they want to check, right? They want you to check. They want you, the planets want you to be secure in your own self, in your own plan. And we know that you want to rush ahead. We know that you want to like do this whole thing, right? But we also don't want you to hurt yourself, right? So, you know the saying, like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So, anyway, sitting in the middle of your spread here is sitting in the middle of your spread here is the Hangman card, right? So, changing your perspective here about the fear of failure, changing your perspective about the stress level that you've been having, changing your, because this is like fear of moving forward and a lot of stress here, right? But Ten of Swords is an ending also. And you do have in the bottom here the World card, which is also completion of a cycle around things, right? So even though you've had this, and this is a, you have the Seven of Swords over here, this is a card about tactics, right? It can be lying, cheating, stealing, as well as some people say. I don't use it for that, but whatever, right? I use it as a fear of moving forward. This is about like critical thinking, right? Attacking yourself. And so, at least as far as I'm concerned, it is. It says futility, but it's like fear of futility, right? And so, Moon in Aquarius. And so, I'll show you. So because you have this one sword up the middle, right? So consider it like the Ace of Swords, new ideas, right? But then you have six swords running around it. So the six swords running around it are all about attacking the main idea. So you can have this idea, but then there's all these like ideas running around saying like, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that, right? So it's creating all of this like stress over here, right? But with the 10 being an ending of the World card sitting here, right? A bunch of that stuff is ending, right? Because you're over here sorting out about like your resources, things like that, right? And checking for, you're sorting things out, your priorities, making sure about things that are interfering, right? And it can be a big emotional process because you are a Scorpio and that's what you do, right? Right. So you are sitting here with this Seven of Pentacles, which is the kind about like changing the structure of things, right? So so this is the past, where you are now, where you're moving forward, right? Or where you're coming from, where you're heading to. And so you do have this Hangman card. So there is a reversal going on here, right? It is about like hanging upside down, getting a different perspective, right? This card is also ruled by water. So that's another interesting thing running around there, right? And but it does talk about you're starting a new cycle around here. It does talk about you have the you have the Six of Pentacles over here, which can be success around financial matters, right? But it is a thing that it's like it's telling you like not to give up, but like there can be new ideas here about how or why you would be um, being persistent, right? So in other decks, this is the guy who was standing up on the rocks with the wand in his hand with a rod, right? And then the six other people kind of coming at him, right? So in astrology, uh, there is a house. I don't know which house it is, but I'm being told right now that this can also represent the house of open enemies. So you're able to see who your enemies are. You're able to see who's coming at you, right? But you have these new ideas about the people who are coming at you, right? So are they really your enemy? Are they really like people who are trying to give you new ideas, right? To enhance your plan, right? But if you have like your own ideas here running around and you're not really willing to listen to other people, then you can mess yourself up, right? So be aware of who it is that's talking to you. I have never said that about this card in the past. So that's new information for me, right? So that's interesting. Spirit is always like trying to change the information that I'm getting around the card. So there you go. Um, so just kind of be aware of that, right? This is like Mars in Leo, this card. So aggression, everything revolves around you, right? More power for yourself, stuff like that, right? So the card itself is called Valor. So again, you have the Six of Pentacles down the bottom here. The Six of Pentacles to me in this deck, I read different decks differently. So in this deck, I see it as a boardroom, right? But it's a spiritual boardroom. So it's like your guides, your ancestors, all the people who are dead or have never been on the planet that are guiding you, right? And all those people, they're out of your boardroom saying, like, hey, how can we help Leo today? Not Leo, Scorpio. How can we help like Scorpio? How can we help Scorpio today? What are their plans? What are they looking for? What are they trying to manifest? And how can we help them? Right. So this is about things that are happening behind the scenes for you. Right. So, and with the Fool card here, you may very well be getting different kinds of information. And with this card here being about changing your perspective around things, right? You have this card here, interference, right? But you may want to change your perspective and be open to new ideas coming in around you, right? Especially if they're coming in an intuitive way, right? And you know, check out what other people are, check out the information that other people are trying to bring you that you may not necessarily want to recognize. So um, you may not want to recognize it as like positive information coming at you because, you know, Scorpio can be stubborn. So Scorpio can be stubborn, willful, all of that, right? However, Pluto has moved into the sign of Aquarius. So um, it's a new sign. It is one of your ruling planets. It is about power. It is a plan of transformation. So it's asking you to transform things, right? And I'm not an astrologer. I know enough to be dangerous. And it kind of depends on where Aquarius is in your chart, right? So it could be a rising sign, it could be the opposite. It could be wherever it is in your chart. I don't know, right? I do know that Aquarius is usually about the kind of helping the masses, and Scorpio. I think that most Aquarians tend to be writers, things like that. They're supposed to be good as far as communication stuff like that is concerned, right? And but it is an air sign, so so Pluto being there can be very transformative in how you are interacting with the world, kind of like mentally, and wherever wherever Aquarius is in your chart. But it did change signs, and so that's the point: is that there is something that has changed within you that is undergoing a huge kind of transformation. So again, there's a lot of sorting out to do about the things that have been in that you see as being interfering, right? Changing your perspective, being open to all possibilities, right? And just listen to somebody, right? You may not necessarily use it, right? But it may not hurt to listen. So it's that. And maybe I should take my own advice. So yeah, I feel like spirit just slapped me in the face on that. So there you go. Thanks for that. Talk about being in my face. All right. So that's the kind of things that are kind of happening around like this week. So let's see what's happening for Scorpio. Let's see what is happening for Scorpio for the next like 3 months. You keep, I postpone delays, right? With the world card here, the world card can bring up things connected to international travel, connection to international people, things like that, right? So if you are looking to travel or trying to travel, right, it can very well be with the Fool card here, there can very well be new opportunities being presented to you about that whole thing, right? But oh, Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. If you are living in a country, because apparently we're looking at a world event here, and where there can be a lot of like victimhood, so Mars energy, things related to war, right? If you are living in a country where there are war-torn like places, right, and it doesn't necessarily mean the big like Israel Palestine sort of a thing, but there can be other countries where there are, things like that brewing, battling, stuff like that, right? um I don't know, it just makes me feel like if you think that there is something that is brewing, I would just tell you to take cover, to get away, to leave for a while. I feel like there's like a different country around here in the Middle East where, and I don't know whether this is like Saudi Arabia or where. I feel like I'm talking about like Saudi Arabia, but it could be a place that is near Saudi Arabia. And I don't do geography very well. I'm not a politician. I don't do any of that. I just know what spirit tells me. And when they give me a location, sometimes it is not necessarily that location, but it can be a place that is adjacent to that. So I don't know what country is adjacent to Saudi Arabia, but I feel like whatever it is west of, like southwest of Saudi Arabia, whatever it is that's over there, that there can be some sort of like big, I don't know, they're telling me that there's going to be some sort of a big explosion and things like that. And I don't know, because the Hammond card there is about water, there may be some sort of like disturbance, big disturbance around like water or stuff like that. Um, and I don't know, we really can't tell the whole country to get up and leave and evacuate, things like that. Um, I don't know, maybe I am talking about that country beginning with P. Um, I don't know, whatever that is, it doesn't feel good to me. I feel like there's some sort of like nuclear war coming or something like that. So I don't know. I would just see about like getting away from that area. Watch the news, pay attention, see what's happening, warn your friends if they're over there, something, right? Um, anyway, whatever. I don't want to look at that right now. Sometimes they get hijacked. I just know I kept looking at this, like, I just kept looking at this world card and all of the stress that runs around here and everything like that. Change of structure, right? And uh, we don't have the emperor card there, so not looking at government things, but you never know what's going to happen here. Um, but there's probably going to be things that are going on here connected to whatever this country is and whatever resources are being like held up. So, and that could be going on until we get into the sign of Cancer, because that would be the next like water sign. So, anyway, so let's just pray for people, okay? Can we just like take a minute and like pray for the world? Let's reach out to the universe. Let's reach out to whatever God or goddess or spirit, ancestor, whatever, or the source, energy, whoever it is that you pray to out there on the planet, and just ask that there be peace to come to the planet, and that anything that is connected to like mass destruction be averted. Let there be peace and healing that come to the planet. Change the hearts of men for the positive. If there's anything like that that is going on the planet, let there be some sort of intervention that happens, and so that any kind of like crisis of mind, body, faith be averted. God, I don't know if my heart can take these things. Anyway, let's see what's happening for you over the course of the next like 3 months, Scorpio. What's happening for the next 3 months with that sign in Scorpio? What's happening for the next 3 months for Scorpio? Hermit, feeling alone, being alone. You've reached the summit somehow or another. Big emotions coming in around here. You're harvesting a lot of rewards. You do have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is about burdens, problems, responsibilities, right? But it is also a harvest time period for you. It is the 50th card of the deck, and so we do. It is a 5. So there's going to be. This is the Hermit card is a 9. So this is a completion of a cycle here on some level, and so moving slowly, but also deep into, like we said, like deep um introspection. Is that even a word? Introspection. That's the word we're looking for. Taking time out. Things related to home. Again, Seven of Pentacles, which is about Seven of Pentacles. This is also Seven of Pentacles. So again, change in structure. So now we do have like 3 7s. 3 7s to me is also an indication of an international travel as well. So again, we have 9 of Wands. This is 9 of Wands. This is 9 of Wands. The 49th card of the deck, which is number 4. So it is a card of stability. I've been seeing this card is connected to Chiron. So this is telling me that there is going to be some sort of like emotional healing that is going on here, because Chiron is a wounded healer, right? This is a card about walking away. This is your card, Scorpio. This is ruled by Pluto also. So again, like death and rebirth, communication. So talking, thinking about changing home somehow or another. You have the Lovers card, which is about major decisions having to be made. We have the Knight of Pentacles twice. So this is all about like kind of looking to the future. There can be business opportunities that are showing up around here for you as well. And you have the Eight of Swords here twice, right? So again, at the bottom of the deck, we do have the Six of Cups. So there can be, I don't necessarily know that people from the past are going to be coming back around you, but there can be like thoughts more so related to feelings about people from the past. But again, it's like whoever these people are, it could be like children, things like that. But to me, it feels more like thinking about people from the past or situations from the past coming up around you. And especially if those things from the past were somehow or another like difficult. It feels like these things coming up, but it's more about like changing your perspective around things, because what I'm being told here is that this is going to be a huge time period, right? Since last month, and this part of the reading is for the next like 3 months. So this whole time period here is going to be huge time period for like healing, like deep, deep, deep cleansing, right? To the core of your bones, to the core of your soul, right? Like there can be like huge things trying to come out, and this may be why they're talking about the skeletons in the closet, right? Things that you don't know about, things that you don't remember, things that you don't want to deal with, right? And so we think that these are the skeletons that Spirit is talking about. These things coming up out of your past, up out of your soul. And it may not necessarily be that you have to like talk to anybody about it, except maybe a therapist. But these things coming up in order to be dealt with, in order to be healed, in order to be let go of, right? Changing your perspective around these things means that, okay, so these like mean, horrible, fucked up things happened, right? So, but the thing is that you are still here. You have moved forward. You have progressed, right, in your life. You are not that same person. You're not in that same position, hopefully, right? And if you are, like, maybe it's time to get out, right? Talk to somebody, stop being a victim, like run, hide, whatever it is that you got to do, right? But understanding that you are in a different position, hopefully, right? Like, because I don't know who's listening to this, but hopefully this is hopefully this is going to be a some kind of a turning point, some kind of a deep healing cleansing, right? There's just all of this kind of like muck and mire being pulled out of you, being pulled up from the core in order to be let go of. So either talk to a therapist, talk to somebody that you trust, write it in a notebook, write it in a journal, write it down on paper, burn it, bury it, something, right? However it is that you have to get rid of it, right? Personally, I have like journals upon journals upon journals upon journals upon journals, right? Like I've been journaling for like the past, I don't know, like over 30 years. And I have I have journaled things away. I have written them down. I have burnt them. I have buried them. I have like given them over to the ocean, to the goddess. Like I have burnt them in my cauldron. I have multiple cauldrons around here, and anything kind of magically, therapeutically, whatever it is we have to do, get rid of it. Right. This is really supposed to be an amazing transformative year for you. So there's that, right? Because, all right, this is a change in your structure, right? Again, it's a Saturn-based card. It is Pentacles, right? Technically, it's a card that can be called like fear of failure, right? But it's like you're sitting here looking at your future. You can't make things grow faster than you want to, right? But this is a 3 based card. So it's a 75th card of the deck, right? 7, 5 is 12, 12 is a 3, right? 1 and 2 is 3. So this is a card about creativity, right? And so change in structure, healing, right? This is emotions. This is a card connected to Chiron, right? And moving forward here, right? But this is a card here that we just had a we just had eclipses, right? And this is a card, this card here, it does have eclipse in it, right? The card has an eclipse. So the eclipse, the eclipse brings a change in perspective, right? The eclipse is telling you, hold on, wait, right? Like reaping more positive emotions around here. Take time out, right? Because you are going through this huge transformation, right? Eight of Cups is a card about like walking away from things that no longer serve you, right? And we do have this 3 here. It can be related to commerce, it can be about like your ship coming in, right? It is also a period of 3, and that's what we're looking at right now, right? Is the course of the next like 3 months. And over the course of the next 3 months, you are walking away from things and you are harvesting the things that you have been putting out there. There's an emotional situation that is being offered to you, right? An emotional healing, right? You do have the Hermit card over here. The Hermit card is about like feeling alone, being alone, right? So it's like feeling alone, being alone, dealing with your own emotions, and dealing with the burdens, problems, responsibilities, taking time out and settling them, right? Completion. The 4 of Wands is a card technically, right? Well, other people call it completion, right? Completion of a cycle, things like that, right? Because they look at these like this bow here, right? They look at it as like crossing the finish line, stuff like that. I look at it in terms of like, oh, there's a house here. We're going and we're going to buy a new house, right? But 4 is our number of stability, right? So we have 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands, and then we have 4 of Wands, we have 3 of Wands, 6 of Wands. There's a big energetic shift that is trying to happen around here. You do have the 6 of Pentacles here, right? So this is a card about victory in terms of whatever it is that you're trying to do here on a financial level, right? Again, you have the eight of swords over here. 8 of Swords is a card about interference, but 8 of Swords is a card about making decisions that overwhelm you, right? 8 of Swords is a card that says, oh, I'm stuck in my thoughts. I don't think that I can get out of here. I'm like trapped. I'm trapped. Help. Right. You don't have to be that way. Right. Swords are related to the mind, right? This person has a blindfold around them, right? They do have that, like they are like tied up like that, right? But they can easily get out, right? That's what the card talks about, right? Which is why I use it as making decisions that overwhelm you, right? That besides in this deck, the Seven of Swords, the person looks like they're going backwards, right? Um, so when I see the Seven of Swords, the person is going backwards, right? They're walking forward, but they're looking over their shoulder, right? They're carrying these swords, right? And they're holding on to old ideas, right? But there are two swords sitting there, new ideas, right? So holding on to these old ideas, thinking that everything is going to be the same as it has always been, right? So put those swords down, pick up two new swords, right? So when you do that, then the next step, making decisions that overwhelm you, right? It's like you don't have to be tied to your thoughts. Make a change. Right? So um yeah, so that's what that is all about. You have the Eight of Wands over here. Eight of Wands is a card about communication, right? So thinking about changing your home, thinking about making decisions, right? This is a card, the Eight of Wands is a card about like writing, right? It is a card about communication, right? So, and it is a card about like speed, swiftness, things like that, right? So writing, thinking, speaking, right? So whatever it is that you're doing here, right? It's like things are going to be going like more quickly over the course of the next like 4 months, right? And like I said, you may want to be slowing down, which is why things could be overwhelming to you, right? So again, we have this whole like theme about Mars versus Saturn, right? We want to go fast, we want to go fast, we want to go fast, but like, no, like slow down, take your time, kind of work things out in your head, right? Making sure that you're not like um, spinning your wheels, right? Make sure that you have some sort of traction, right? And making sure that you do have the resources around you available to be able to help you to be able to move forward. The resources are things that could come from within, right? Sometimes the Eight of Cups here, right? It is about walking away from things that no longer serve you, but sometimes it is a card about introspection, right? Because the Moon card is there, so it can be a card about. When I first started reading, to me, it was a card that used to talk about like going on the inside, right? Going inside and kind of seeing what's going on in there, right? Journey inside. And by going inside, there is a transformation. And when the transformation happens, then you're able to move forward faster, right? And some people use the Eight of Wands as a card about like changing home too, right? So you do have multiple cards here that are bringing up like changes around home, right? So just want to put this out there that, and even this card, right? This guy here, right? He's almost home. There's a house in the background over here, right? So this is why it's a harvest. These are the things that he's planted, and he's like now bringing his harvest home, right? So, but who knows? Is this like his? Are these the things that he's carrying from his old home? Is he got? Or is he like carrying things to his present home? Five isn't. This is the 50th card of the deck. It is a five, so it is a change, right? But it is like taking time out here in order to invest in your home, right? Now, investing in your home, change your home, right? Your body is also the home of your soul. So, are we talking about your physical home? Are we talking about your spiritual home? So, because this is about taking time out, right? This is a kind of about it is a kind of about meditation, right? So take time out. This is a four. This is usually about things being on hold for like a 4 month or 4 week time period, right? But then you have the four over here also. So there's a couple of fours running around here. So we're just gonna throwing that information out there. Do with it what you will. So there's that. This card is a four. This is 44. This is also a four. So there's a lot of fours running out here, and fours are a number of stability. So Spirit is trying to get you to be in a place about stability. They are trying to get you to a place that you can call home, that you can feel comfortable about your home. It could this could very well be about like changing your home, moving, stuff like that, but it can also be refurbishing your home. I don't have the four of pentacles here. Four of pentacles to me is a card about like changing home in terms of like changing curtains, furniture, construction, things like that, right? But it may very well be if you're beautifying your home somehow or another, right? Then it can feel new. So, like I don't have Venus-based cards here, but you know, just kind of like putting that out there. Let's check and see what's happening for Scorpio over the course of the next year, right? Cutting the deck, just notice the Ten of Pentacles is down the bottom, right? Ten of Pentacles is kind of about real estate. Right? Ten of Pentacles is about like wealth, financial security, stuff like that. Right? It's kind of about legacy. It's kind of about kind of making your mark on the world, stuff like that. Can be kind of about inheritance, whether you are receiving inheritance, whether you are doing things to build your wealth so that you can leave an inheritance. That's something that can be like that. See what's happening in Scorpio over the course of next year. Scorpio. What's happening for you over the course of the next year? So Spirit is just reminding me that I don't normally talk about like relationship oriented things, and so they want to take a moment. We're going to take a moment and get a message from our sponsor. Meaning that whoever it is that's like talking to us. You do have the Ace of Cups in your reading. You also do have the Ace of Swords, right? Ace of Cups, if we're looking at children, can very well be related to like female children. Ace of Swords is a card that can bring up things connected to like male children. So, but you do have the Four of Swords here, right? And you have this card here, which is like Chiron. So, if there has been some sort of a loss, right, then there can be a loss. If there has been a loss around children, whatever, haven't been able to do that, right, then this is a card that can be, it can be about being able to move forward, but taking time out to kind of see, because you have this card here about like your home, right? So if we are looking at like women and women having children, right? You want to make sure that like your physical home, your body, right? You want to make sure that your body is prepared, right? Make sure that you're not like stressed out. You did have the Ten of Swords down there, right? You have the Nine of Pentacles twice, right? So you want to make sure, and you do have the Queen of Pentacles over there, right? So if you are going to have children, right, and they're saying like plan it, right? If you're planning on having children, right, make sure that you have your resources, make sure that your body is going to be able to withstand that. Like I said, right? We have this like Saturn Mars. We have this like Saturn Mars conjunction thing going on around here. Saturn is about like long-term goals, right? And making sure that things are going to be viable long-term. So does that mean that you are putting your eggs in a bank somewhere, wherever they do that, right? Because like taking time out, right? Is your body ready, right? Is it going to be like too much of a burden here, right? So is like, um are you in the right relationship here? Are you walking away from a relationship, right? Are you in a relationship triangle down here, the three, right? So you want to just make sure that you are in the right kind of like situation for children to be, viable for you, right? That they're being brought into like the appropriate kind of like situation, right? And we're just saying that like not everybody's in that kind of situation, right? But their spirit is telling me that this can be a tiny period about upheaval, about unexpected things happening, right? Because Jupiter is getting ready to be conjunct with Uranus, and so yeah, like expansion, like luck, like things like that, right? Like higher education, spirituality, things like that, right? But Uranus is also about, that's like Jupiter. Uranus is about unexpected things, like well, the Wheel of Fortune is unexpected things. That's ruled by Jupiter, but Uranus is a card about shock, surprise, like things like that, right? So you just want to make sure that things are going to be okay. Like that's just like what we're talking about. So because it can be victory, it just says that you're going through a lot of changes here, right? It can be changes mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritual. So just make sure that both you and your partner are on the same page around these things. That's all that we're saying, because there can be a lot of things that are coming up over the course of the next 3 months that you're not expecting, right? So just kind of like take a minute, couple of minutes, couple of days, and look and see where your path is headed, right? Talk to your mates, right? Where do you see us in like 5 years? You know what I mean? like, where do you see us as a couple? What do you see us as this, that, the other thing, right? Get a feel for it. So, all right, what's happening with Scorpio here over the course of the next year? The next year. Queen of Swords, another kind of tactic. Six of Cups, related to the past and also children. Right? Queen of Swords is related to Athena. She is the goddess of strategy, right? She is in the first deck that I use, the Queen of Swords. She's holding a head, right? And that is more about like getting rid of old things, again, like old values, things like that that no longer work for you, right? So you do have like money, finances over here, right? There can be old projects here coming up that, projects from the past that can bring finances, right? As long as you're being fed emotionally by them, right? Magician does say that you have all the tools that you require, right? Hermit card twice. Strength card ruled by a son of Leo. Page of Pentacles, communication about like work, money, finances, things like that. It's a card about education. It's a card about new business opportunities being presented to you, right? But you also have the Two of Swords, which is a card I use Two of Swords for a separation, right? It's kind of about like trust issues, things like that, right? And you have this like Nine of Swords over here, which is about taking problems to sleep with you, and it's about kind of getting out of your comfort zone, right? Two of Swords with that is like, oh, I want to do. You have the feeling alone, being alone, but you're finding your strength in your own self as well, right? So, you know, you may be okay with having a kid by yourself. You know what I mean? Like it could be an option for you because you are finding your own strength here, right? You are feeling alone, being alone, things from the past, Ace of Cups again, right? Magician says that you have all the tools that you require, you know, so just, you know, playing your strategies. That's all we're talking about here, right? Downside of the Magician is a card about like somebody who's like trying to manipulate you, right? So if you're a guy, don't be manipulated by like your girlfriend or wife or whatever like that. If you're the girl, don't be like, you know, don't be putting expectations on your boyfriend, husband, whoever, right? And don't be giving credit to them for things that they don't have, right? Don't be giving them values that they don't have. If they're not really like father material, don't be sitting there thinking that they are, right? If you're having trust issues about somebody, right, there is an expression when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Right? So you have the Devil card, right? Limitations and restrictions, big power struggle here with the Lover's card, right? With the Seven of Swords, right? Tactics, lying, cheating, stealing, right? Devil card, drugs, temptation, excess, all that kind of thing, right? So that's what we're saying, right? Five of Swords, stalemate. Four of Wands twice, right? Again, Eight of Cups like twice. Page of Swords. And having an attitude about things, right? You want it like if the Magician card being a negative, right? Like it can be two things. Positive of the Magician is about you have all of the things that you require. You have all of the tools that you require, right? Downside is manipulation, right? So, and then Page of Swords down here, somebody with an attitude, right? This is walking away from somebody that has an attitude, right? Do not let somebody gaslight you, right? Did I say earlier that I don't really do like rainbows and unicorns? Yeah, see, now you know. um, you are looking at stability, right? There is like money and finances here. You may very well be getting involved with like some kind of real estate, things like that, right? Because this is about looking at opportunities here around home, right? Money, finances. This is the King of Pentacles is the guy who has like the most money, right? Or woman, whatever, right? Um, So, because you do have the strength here around like your money finances, right? But this to me feels like somebody is doing things like more so on their own. They're taking the reins by the, you know, they're taking the bull by the horns, they're taking their own reins, and they're making decisions about themselves, right? And because you are going into a big, huge growth period, right? There is a certain kind of like ascension that is happening here for you, Scorpio. So, what we're looking at is over the course of next year, right? You've been dealing with this whole group of people that have been drama, right? Drama creating trauma, like chaos, Five of Wands, right? Chaos and like people lying, cheating, stealing. You've been trying to be like all like tactical. Well, how am I going to get through this if this is going on, right? Scorpio always has plan B, right? How am I getting through all of this stuff, right? But what the reading is also telling us here is that you are moving through this whole thing about like exit stage left. You're in this place where it's like, you know what, like I am done with all of this like fucking stuff, right? I'm just done. And I'm not doing this anymore. Stalemate, Five of Swords, stalemate. I'm just done with all of this stuff and I'm going off on my own and I'm gonna live in my little like tree fort. I'm going to make plans for my own empire and I'm going to be doing the things for myself. I'm going to figure out how I can have the resources to have my own house, to have my own establishment, to have my own business, to have my own whatever it is that I want to have of my own. Right. And it's like I'm going to separate from this person over here and I'm going to take my money and I'm going to grow my money and I'm going to invest and I'm going to go to school. I'm going to invest in me and I'm going to see what it is that I can do. And I'm going to make plans for my future because I am understanding what my worth is these days. That's what seems to be happening with you, Scorpio. That's really what this message is all about here, right? Is that, and it's something that you've been trying to do really for a long time, is like trying to get out of your own self, right? Trying to get out of your own way, right? And it's finally time for you to like own your own value. Like, who are you, Scorpio? Right? What is your value? What is your worth? What kind of tools do you have? What is your investment strategy about yourself, right? What are you getting rid of that no longer serves you about you? What are you getting rid of? People, places, things that no longer serve you, right? Where are the temptations? Where are the manipulators? Where are the people from your past that like you thought were supportive, like strength, right? But like they've been like lying to you, stealing your energy, cheating on you, whatever, all of that kind of stuff, right? And trying to have a clean slate, right? Kind of like there's a whole thing going on here, right? About taking stock in your life and just looking at the people squarely who are in your life and saying, like, damn, are these people worth my time and energy? Scorpios are very empathic, right? They are probably the most psychic like people in the zodiac, right? We're not saying that other people are not, right? Water signs mostly, Cancer, Pisces, right? Like that also. But Scorpio, Scorpio is the death card, right? And Scorpio is more closely related to like death, mediumship type thing, like deep, intense, like dreams, all that kind of stuff, right? So Spirit is trying to bring you this message about like own that about yourself, right? Know who you are, trust your emotions, right? There are like with the Ace of Cups here coming up a couple of times, right? It's like new emotions coming in around you, your psychic ability increasing. I'm watching this whole thing about like Scorpio, and really like a lot of people like going through spiritual ascension, right? You've been over here, right? But you've been on this sort of journey, right? That's a lot about what the Hermit card is all about, right? This Hermit guy, he's standing on top of a mountain, right? Doesn't show the whole mountain in this card, but this guy is standing on top of a mountain, right? You see the snow up there, right? Alone, like isolated, right? And his head is down, right? He's in this place of like introspection, right? He has this big wand here, right? It's about him owning his power, right? Wands are about power, right? He's sitting here owning his own power, and he's got the lantern. Inside the lantern is the star, right? And it's the star card, right? So he is sitting there following his own North Star. He's sitting there following his own goals, dreams, aspirations, but he's somebody who like goes slow, right? It's like he can only go as far as he can see by the lamp. So that is what's being like your story right now. This is what is being your strength, right? Strength card here is about inner strength. It's not about outer strength. It's not about money, right? And it's about finding your strength from your past, right? And understanding that, like, all right, those people, it's a stalemate. I can't argue with these people anymore. I'm done. I'm just done, right? And I'm looking for stability in my own life. I'm letting go of like toxic people, the devil, right? It's a power struggle, self-imposed power struggle. So, like, do you want to be involved in that struggle? Put it down. Stop fighting, right? Looking for stability, looking for your home, right? Walking away from all of that stuff, right? You don't need to have an attitude, right? But maybe you need to have an attitude in order to be able to get to be where you want to be, right? Like getting out of it, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You may have to separate from a lot of people and get out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's not going to be easy, but you are going to have to identify what tools you have, right? You may have to do magic, right? Home, separation, power. This is also ruled by Mercury, right? So, like I said, the Mercury retrograde is not necessarily negative, right? But this is going to be a time period where you're being asked in no uncertain terms, Scorpio, like, who are you? I really want to say, like, who the fuck are you, Scorpio, right? Who are you? What is your power? What is your strength, right? What are your talents? What are your gifts? What are you bringing to the table for you, right? Never mind what are you bringing to the table for these other people. What are you bringing to the table for you? What is your worth? What is your worth? Not like, like on paper, not in a fantasy world. You don't have this, you don't have the Seven of Cups here. So we're not dealing with fantasy. We're talking about reality, right? And you do have the World card here, right? Which country are you looking to live in? Right? World card, international travel, recognition, right? Home, right? Like, so like home in an international country, right? Do you have like three different choices, right? Has your ship come in? Where are you going? Right? So you have all of this stuff trying to happen for you, right? So that's what your message is for the day. So that's it in a nutshell, right? This guy sitting here, right, in the center, right, is that you have been delaying this for a long time now, right? Being like, you don't have to be a victim anymore, right? People, again, people gaslighting you, manipulation, right? Downside of the magician, people gaslighting you. Change your perspective, know what your value is, right? And then it's like you're walking away from all this like victim sort of mentality, right? You're moving forward, looking inside, seeing what you're all about, and walking away because it's like, fine, things have been on hold and now it's time to move forward, right? And it's like knowing what resources you have, right? This is the guy that's looking at the future, right? He's sitting here looking at his crystal ball, right? And but this is all about like money, finances, education, right? Education can be about um education can be what you went to school for. Education can be what did you learn on the job, right? It can be what you learned, like life lessons, sort of a thing. That's not the card that I use for life lessons, but it is about where it is that you want to be physically, right? it's a pentacle, so it's more about where you want to be, like physically. It's about job opportunities, right? You do have the King of Pentacles sitting up there at the top, right? So it's like you're sitting here and you're looking for financial stability, right? You're looking here about like what is your strength at, right? But in order for you to get all of this, you may very well have to step out of your comfort zone and separate from some people, right? You're going to have to make some big decisions in order to be able to get to be where it is that you want to be. And this is not necessarily going to be easy, right? Maybe in like on paper, it could look very simple, right? Oh, I got to cut this person out, cut that person out, get this out, that out, whatever, right? It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it is something that you can do because you do have the power, right? You do have the magician, you do have and you have the Queen of Pentacles over here. So you do have the resources available to you, right? You may have to scrounge around, look for them, right? Dig them up, whatever, but they are going to be available to you, especially because over the course of next year, right, you are sitting here with the King of Pentacles, right? This guy is the one that I use as like for the stock market, right? He's got that little like ticker tape thing going on here, right? He's got this money, right? He's got all this wealth, financial security, right? And it's like coming from the past, right? It's like looking at your resources, right? Divine counterpart, they call it, right? Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, right? So you have both of these things like sitting here from the past into the present, right? So it's like it's possible, right? This next year is going to be really good for you, right? You're just going to have to like get rid of some holders on. You're going to have to get rid of some psychic vampires. You're going to have to get rid of some people who like, you're going to have to get rid of some people who know your value and are trying to use it for themselves. So that's what that's going to be all about. So I've been having this song in my head for about a month now. Welcome to the new world. Yep. So you're done, Scorpio. Check you off my list. Scorpio. That's it. Have fun. I tell people all the time, right? Find a reason to laugh. I don't care what it is. Look for a belly laugh somewhere every single day. Whatever it is, I don't care. You Scorpio usually has dark humor. I don't care what it is. Find some dark humor. If you're laughing at somebody slipping on ice, I don't know. But I'm not saying it that, but that's how Scorpio is. Anyway, under there is a big heart. I understand it, right? You just don't necessarily always want to be vulnerable. But you can have your big heart for you. If you don't take care of you, right? Like who is? So that's your message for the day. All right. Have fun. Ciao. Take care.